You might notice I'm always wearing this coat lately and a hat because I was hoping that global warming was true, but it's still so cold. I keep my temperature down. I'm trying to not to buy oil as much, and it's me versus the big oil companies, trying to put the big oil companies out of business by not buying oil. At any rate, Dennis Prager was addressing the topic of Libya and Obama's speech regarding Libya. And Prager was so busy commending Obama for sounding like a Republican or sounding like George Bush that he's missing the bigger picture. And number one. Number two, what makes him think that Obama's changed his stripes overnight like that? That he's, that he actually, I can't believe that Prager would actually think this, unless he's been smoking whatever Michael Medved's been smoking, or it's turning his brains into mush, because Prager, and I was just saying recently that I kind of was putting him on the level of Michael Savage, but later on that night when the Poodle File, Michael Savage came on, Savage addressed the topic. He hit the ball out of the park. He nailed it. So, I don't know if I can make that compare Prager to Savage anymore. I don't think that's, I don't know if that's going to hold. But specifically, Prager had no view to the larger scheme of things in terms of what's going on in the Middle East and Obama's policy and his motives and the motives of George Soros and those kinds of things. Dennis Prager doesn't even seem to acknowledge that there's these larger realities behind foreign policy and larger motives, that maybe it's because he's afraid of being labeled a conspiracy theorist or something like that, but everybody knows by now that Obama doesn't call his own shots. That there's larger powers, larger global powers that dictate to Obama what he can and cannot do. And I'm wondering about that with the stock market too. A while back I had made a video saying that Obama was bad for the stock market, but I don't think I could say that. I think that was I was mistaking that Obama really has very little to do with the stock markets owned by these multinational billionaires who can sell off quietly and cause a panic and cause all kinds of turbulence like they did in 2009. And it seems to me that when Obama was up in New England on one of those vacations with the bankers, that the stock market plummeted a couple hundred points. Something tells me that was the banker showing Obama, to make sure he stays in line, that they have the power to make or create the economy, but not actually creating the economy. They are, but in terms of this so-called improving economy, it's all perception. They're trying to project a recovery sentiment by improving the stock market, which they can do without actually having any real value in the market. The market is not improving because the economy is improving. The economy is not really improving. You look at foreclosures, you look at unemployment, you look at wages, and you can see, the only strength areas are government, which is money that they're taking from us and paying other people. Now, specifically to the issue of larger motives behind Obama's Libyan policy, And how Michael Savage hit the nail on the head is this idea that Obama is, I think, notoriously anti-Judeo-Christian culture and Judeo-Christian civilization. I think it's safe to say that he hates the Judeo-Christian civilization. We know he certainly has a lot to praise about Islam. And I'm not saying necessarily that he's a Muslim, but a lot of the left and the elitists like Islam because Islam is an enemy to the Judeo-Christian civilization. And I think that's really what's behind all this, is that previously the American policy in the Middle East was to try to prevent fundamentalist Islam from taking over those Middle Eastern countries so that we could still have some kind of moderate policies and diplomacy. And they were even, some of them, in peace agreements with Israel. And I think that Obama finds that so offensive that there would be Muslim nations with peaceful relations with Israel that he's using the State Department to tip any such Muslim nation away from moderate relations towards fundamental Islam, because those who hate the Judeo-Christian civilization love Islam, because Islam is an enemy of the Judeo-Christian civilization. Quran says, make no Jew or Christian your friend. The Muslim world believes that eventually, Islam will dominate and wipe out Jews and Christians, as well as all the other religions. Now, in Islam, all non-Islamic religions are offensive, but they have a particular fear for Jews and Christians, because Jews and Christians know the scripture, and Muhammad, being illiterate, thought that what he was hearing from this so-called Gabriel angel was going to correspond with what was in the Bible, in the Torah, and the Gospels. And when it was discovered that literate Jews and Christians knew that Muhammad's material was contradicting the Bible, Muhammad saw that as a danger, as time to distance themselves from Jews and Christians as quickly as possible, so that his followers don't catch on. And this is what that's the root of it. But now we see what's going on with the now that we've got a president who hates Judeo-Christian civilization. He's doing whatever he can, use the State Department to tip those countries into a fundamental Islam that's enemy to America and Israel. You notice that there wasn't this concern to protect the Iranian rebels. Okay, this idea of just picking and choosing who's going to be a worthy rebel or not. If you look for a common denominator, it's those who are going to going to take the nation into a radical Islamic Sharia type of system. Those are the ones that Obama wants us to fight with, those rebels. Now, of course, they're not going to be characterized like that. They're going to be characterized like Michael Savage says, students, Berkeley students, James Dean, that so that the American people think that we're doing a good thing, and the whole time what they're really doing is they're strengthening fundamentalist Islam in those nations, because I think that the world elitists have have plans to use fundamentalist Islam to destroy the Judeo-Christian civilization, and I think that's their ultimate enemy. The way I see it, there's only There's really these three main forces seeking to dominate the globe. And I borrowed this idea from Dennis Prager, but I'm describing a little differently. But basically, you got the Judeo-Christian civilization, you got Islam, and you have the elitist, or the left. And the left and the elitist will use Islam to destroy the Judeo-Christian free-thinking people. And let me point out what happened, for instance, in Switzerland when MSNBC went over there to protect and to fight for the Muslims, to do a spin piece in favor of the Muslims and against the free-thinking Christian conservatives in Switzerland. So you see that, you can see it in practice. You can actually watch in real time MSNBC, who is, of course, part of that elitist group that hates Judeo-Christian civilization. You can see them at work actually doing this, actually fighting for Islam, for the Islamization of Switzerland. Just go, on YouTube and look it up. So we can see, this is actually happening in real time. You don't have to theorize this. So that's the way I'm looking at this idea. Obama has not all of a sudden become in favor of individualism, Judeo-Christian individualism. I think he still hates it just as much as he's realizing he's got to be more covert about it. How he could fool somebody like Dennis Prager, I don't understand, but that just, if that's the case, we're in pretty bad shape. It looks like most of the people that are aware of the phenomenon I'm talking about, although the numbers are swelling, there's more and more people catching on, but a lot of us are coming to the conclusion that it may be very well be too late to do anything. That we would have to really, I think, dissolve the federal government and see the states become individual nations. Because the smaller your government is, the less centralization you have, the more control you have, and the more power you have against the globalists, the elitists that are going to sick the Muslims on us and do whatever they can to destroy, Judeo-Christian civilization. So, thanks for listening. Talk to you later.